Forward! Destroy the Kaaba! Oh, what is that?
Let's dive into a story from about 1,500 years ago. It's got everything: a powerful king, a sacred stone building, and a massive army of 60,000 soldiers.
I know, it sounds pretty unbelievable, doesn't it? But this single act of defiance from one animal is right at the heart of an event that would reshape the Arabian Peninsula forever.
So, our story really begins with this major clash. On one side, you've got Abraha, who is the most powerful king in Arabia. And on the other, you have this simple cube-shaped building in the city of Mecca, the Kaaba.
And here's where the real problem started. The Kaaba wasn't just any building. It made Mecca the absolute center of the Arab world, both spiritually and financially. Abraha, well, he couldn't stand it. So, fueled by jealousy, he built this magnificent, jewel-filled church in Yemen to compete. But it was a total failure. Nobody came. The pilgrims' loyalty was with the ancient cube.
So you can imagine when his huge project flopped, Abraha's jealousy just boiled over into rage. His new plan was brutally simple. If people won't come to my house of worship, I'll just destroy theirs.
Now, to really understand why this king seemed so unstoppable, you kind of have to know his backstory. Abraha wasn't born into royalty, not even close. His rise to power was nothing short of extraordinary.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. He went from being someone's property, to a general, to a rebel who overthrew his own masters, and then became the most powerful king in the entire region. This guy must have seemed like an absolute force of nature.
So with that kind of unstoppable ambition fueling him, Abraha points all of his rage directly at the Mecca. He gathers the largest army Arabia had ever seen, all for one single destructive purpose.
60,000 soldiers. And as if that wasn't terrifying enough, he brought a new kind of weapon with him: war elephants. For the tribes of Arabia, this was a shocking display of force, unlike anything they have ever witnessed before.
As this massive army marched towards Mecca, they just looted everything in their path. And right on the outskirts of the city, they made a point of capturing a huge herd of camels that belonged to Mecca's most important chief.
When Mecca's chief, Abdul Muttalib, went to negotiate, Abraha probably expected him to beg for the city. But instead, he gets this incredibly calm reply. Abdul Muttalib just asks for his camels back, saying that the Kaaba has its own protector. Abraha was just stunned, and then he laughed, completely dismissing the old man's faith as weakness.
So the next morning, Makkah is basically defenseless. Abraha orders the final assault. He's on his lead war elephant, ready to watch the Kaaba crumble into dust. But then, something happened that absolutely no one could have seen coming.
As the army got ready to charge, the lead elephant, the very symbol of Abraha's power, just stopped. It knelt down and flat out refused to move towards the Kaaba. No matter what they did, they couldn't get it to take a single step forward.
So while the entire army is just standing there confused by this one stubborn elephant, the real turning point arrives. The sky suddenly fills with swarms of birds, and in an instant, a scene of military might turned into total chaos and, according to tradition, an act of divine intervention.
Now, how you see this event really depends on your point of view. Was it a literal miracle? Or, as many historians think, was it maybe a sudden devastating outbreak of a plague like smallpox, with the stones being a metaphor for the painful lesions? Either way, the result was the same. Abraha's supposedly invincible army was completely destroyed.
The failure was so complete, so dramatic, that it did the exact opposite of what Abraha wanted. Instead of being destroyed, the Kaaba's sacred status was cemented forever. The prestige of Mecca and its leading tribe, the Quraysh, just skyrocketed across Arabia. They were now seen as a people under divine protection.
But the story doesn't just end with a defeated army. That incredible defense of the Kaaba, it's really just the setup. The true world-changing legacy of the Year of the Elephant is all about what happened next in that very same year.
And this is the detail that changes absolutely everything. The miraculous event that secured the sanctity of the Kaaba happened in 570 CE. And in that same city, in that exact same year, the man who would one day make that building the center of a new world faith, the Prophet Muhammad, was born.
So coincidence? Or the prelude to a new chapter for all of humanity? That is the question that has echoed through history for 1,500 years, turning a story of a failed invasion into a foundational event for billions. It marks not just the Year of the Elephant, but the dawn of a whole new era,